Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey guys, the Belarus has been in the news a bit lately because of the whole Russia-Ukraine war going on in Europe. They seem to be the one country over there that is sort of on Russia's side in this. And yeah, let's learn about it. Preemptive like. Original link to the video, top of the description, right below that link to the Discord. History Matters, great channel. Let's go.
There are many questions which keep us up at night. Is there an afterlife? Why are we here? And why is Belarus a thing? So Belarus is a country in Eastern Europe sandwiched between Poland, Russia, Ukraine and the Baltics.
Sorry.
It's also an exceptionally young nation, having only become a fully independent state in 1991. So the name Belarus comes from the term Belaya Rus, which means White Russia. Historically, much of modern-day Belarus's lands were located within the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Here, the Belarusians were often referred to as Ruthenians, but this term was often a broad one which applied to both them and the Ukrainians. In fact, the people who lived there were often referred to as either Litvini or Palyaschuk. The first traces of a consistent Belarusian national identity don't spring up until the 19th century, roughly when all of the other nationalist movements were picking up too. During the 19th century, Belarus was a part of the Russian Empire after the partition of Poland and Lithuania, and this saw many changes brought about. Firstly, the ruling Polish Catholic class were removed from power and replaced with a Russian-speaking Orthodox one. Secondly, intellectuals within the Russian Empire began to study the Belarusian people to determine just how different they were. Covertly, that is, because the imperial government outlawed the notion that Belarusians were a distinct people from Russians. In the latter half of the 19th century, the Belarusians, led by Konstantin Kalinowski, revolted against the Russians, asserting their own identity, but this revolt was soon crushed by distinct people from Russians. In the latter half of the 19th century, the Belarusians, led by Konstantin Kalinowski, revolted against the Russians, asserting their own identity, but this revolt was soon crushed. Of course, this doesn't invalidate the Belarusian claims of a unique identity, though. It existed whether or not the St. Petersburg government wanted it to. So, as you'll know, World War I kicked off in 1914, and this saw the status of Belarus and its people change massively in a very short period of time. After pushing the Russians back to here, the Germans created a puppet state, the Belarusian People's Republic. This was short-lived, and the Russian Civil War and the following Polish-Soviet War saw the land divided like this, with some of the Belarusian lands going to Poland and the rest going to the USSR. The Belarusian lands here were known as the Belarusian Soviet Socialist Republic. The BSSR was enlarged twice.
I just need to stop, just to slow down a sec. So they seem to be a cultural group of people, if not ethnic group of people, who, you know, are a part, have, you know, Slavic history, are much a part of Eastern Europe. I'm sure have a lot of connected history, and they have stayed unique enough, because I'm assuming that there would be many more, you know, smaller countries if you're going to divide it exactly by culture. So it had its own identity. It's in this place in Europe where you're going to be conquered many times, and they're one of the few kind of ethnic groups or cultural groups to get their own country.
Twice. The first was an internal enlargement which reflected demographic lines. The second came with the USSR's annexation of eastern Poland in the lead up to World War II. After the dust from that conflict had settled, Belarus's modern borders were established and affirmed. That said, Belarus wasn't independent in any way, barring some politicking by Stalin.
History Matters is so great. All right.
Because, as many of you will know, Belarus, along with Ukraine, had their own seats in the UN whilst being a part of the USSR. The reason why Stalin managed to get these was that he refused to join the new UN unless he was granted extra seats, since he was concerned that he would be consistently outvoted by non-communist states. This concession was granted, and the BSSR held its own seat until the dissolution of the USSR in 1991, when its seat was transferred to modern Belarus. So, in conclusion, the origins of Belarus are blurred and wrapped up in difficulties concerning names and which state its culture is rooted in. Was Belarus another successor to the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, or was it a newcomer whose identity was forged in opposition to those around it? Be aware, though, that Belarus and its people shouldn't be seen as some offshoot of Russia.
I have one big question.
History is long and varied. Belarus is in many respects a young country, but its people, under many names, have existed for much longer. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for making.
With
one big question here is so. Let me know if I'm wrong, but wouldn't they keep saying, you know, its own people and its own culture? Why is it that? I mean, wouldn't that be the same case with a lot of different areas in Europe? Yet they've likely been divided or grouped together into other countries. Europe, like every other continent besides Antarctica, it has a very diverse cultural background. And so I feel like the reasoning for Belarus being a country today could be reasoning for a lot of other smaller countries in Eastern Europe. Let me know if I'm wrong there. Interesting video, though, as always. Hope you guys are doing well, especially anyone who's close to any of the combat. Hope you're staying as safe as you possibly can given this situation. See you guys next time. Bye.